Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Tomb Raider Underworld walkthrough. It is time to continue our journey through southern Mexico, specifically the level Xibalba. Now, as you are probably realising at this point, southern Mexico is very, very long. Like, this is easily the longest level in the entirety of the game, because while Croft Manor took 30 minutes-ish, and you perhaps spent an hour or so in the Mediterranean Sea, or maybe an hour and a half in coastal Thailand, this is going to take you about 2 hours at least. And what's rather bizarre is that none, and I mean none, of the levels after this take anywhere near this amount of time. I mean, I suppose the last level can get close, but really, it's not that bad. But thankfully, what we will be doing today is getting into the next level, or at least the next bits of the southern Mexico level. So we're going to get out of Xibalba and into the next chapter, I guess, is what you'd call them. It gets really complicated when you try and remember how to refer to the breakup of the levels, because obviously so many different games use so many different naming techniques. So like Bayonetta has chapters for the overall thing, verses for the stuff in the middle. It's like the battles and so on. And the Wonderful 101 has operations and their missions, but then you also have other games which classify their operations/chapters as missions. I think the way that Tomb Raider does it is levels, then chapters. But it gets all a bit complicated. Now, the slightly frustrating thing that I've got at the minute is that I don't really have a whole lot much interesting to say about this area of the level. It's the slightly frustrating thing that I found with Tomb Raider games, and it's kind of my own fault, really, because I speak very quickly, as you may have noticed. But also, well, so there's the I speak very quickly, therefore when I have something to talk about, I tend to get through it a wee bit quicker than I planned to. But then also, there isn't actually a whole lot to discuss. Oh dear, glitch. Whoa! Another instance of Tomb Raider Underworld being a little bit glitchy. Thankfully it doesn't completely screw you over, but there are glitches that can do so. That might actually provide a decent topic to talk about, because one happens in southern Mexico. But yeah, as I was saying, like, there isn't a whole lot to deal with in Tomb Raider once you've gotten past the let's talk about Lara, let's talk about the location, and the mythology stuff, and there's more mythology stuff to come, but I want to leave the very interesting thing I found out about Xibalba until we get to the point where that is actually useful to me, and not a massive spoiler. Because a little bit of surprise goes a long way sometimes. But yes, as I was saying, with the bugs, there are quite a remarkable amount of bugs throughout the games. Pretty much all of the ones that are noticed in the walkthrough that I use, which is the Stellar Tomb Raider walkthroughs, because they're all very, very well put together, very informative. Most of them are PC, PS3, 360 bugs, although the Wii and PS2 versions have also a plethora of bugs. The main method of getting around most of them is to save manually once or twice each level, and then if you do run into a bug, you can reload rather than having to replay an entire level, which would just be awful. So, for example, there's a major bug in the Mediterranean Sea, although it only seems to be in the PlayStation 3 version. Basically, at the end of the level, you return to Lara's boat and the final cutscene in the level is triggered. But the bug prevents the cutscene from playing, and therefore you are unable to move on to the next level, which is really, really frustrating. There isn't really a way to prevent it. It isn't recognised on, or wasn't recognised on IDOS support as an official bug, and so the only thing you can do is save several times as you go along and just reload the saves. It is also potentially possible to make your way back through the level and then return to the surface again, and that could cause the trigger to happen. Or you can just download a save file and use that. Be a safe option. In the Wii version, there is a bug in coastal Thailand around the remnants, but no longer. Basically, during the remnants, you're in an underwater cave, or at least there is an underwater cave, and you do not want to swim into that cave while exploring the area, because if you do that, you can trigger a bug later on at the end of Pop It No Longer, in which the lever required to open the exit and finish the level is missing, because that's always fun! And the only way to prevent that is to simply avoid the cave in question. There's no reason for you to go inside it, but, yes. Now, the one which I probably should have noted at some point during the last part, because it's very integral to this. Near the end of Part 1, The Unnamed Days, you reach a fork in the path, where the player can choose to go left or right. If you go to the left, and Lara dies before reaching the next checkpoint, that can trigger a bug at the beginning of Part 3, The Midgard Serpent, in which a certain set of ramps, which allow you to cross a deep pit, are missing, which therefore prevent you from continuing the level. And that is... full stop. You cannot go any further. It's ridiculous. I can't quite remember which turn it is. I believe it may be the main junction. So you've got the courtyard in front of you, the path to the left, which we're on now, and the path to the right. And in fact that would make sense in my head, because I think it's generally perceived that this is going to be your final Mayan calendar before you move on. Ways to prevent it: basically use the PC DVD game and download the patch. On any system, go to the right at the fork and avoid the area completely until after you've finished the Unnamed Days and begun Xibalba. And also save manually in the middle of the Unnamed Days, and don't overwrite that save until you've finished Southern Mexico. So, the only way to solve it is reload the autosave from the beginning of the chapter, and then replay without triggering the bug. So, it's pretty nasty. There aren't many of those types of bugs. There's about 2 or 3, which are well, can properly screw you over. That is one of them, and I think that's kind of the first one that you will potentially encounter. But most of the others... Well, actually, there might be another one in the next part of southern Mexico. But that is something that I will go into when we come across it, because, you know, don't want to spoil things. Now, if you want to put yourself in with the best chance of getting an achievement, place your motorbike just in front of the window that you could just see in that little bit of the ruins. Because you will need it if you want the achievement, which is Speed Demon. Basically what it requires you to do is to get to the entrance to the next part of the level in a set amount of time. I can't quite remember what it is. Something like 40 seconds, 50 seconds. Just double checking this right now. And yes, Speed Demon 1 is drive into Xibalba in under 45 seconds. Now really, this isn't too difficult. I mean, basically, as long as you know exactly where you're going, it's not a problem at all. There are 3 Speed Demon achievements to unlock, and they come in very, very quick succession. Because you have the one here in southern Mexico, and then there are 2 very soon after each other at the start of the next level, which is slightly balmy. And if you beat all 3 of them in the same game, so that means you don't... Well, it's all on the same save file, basically. Then you get the 4th, which is... Well, the 4th achievement, which is Master Speed Demon. Now, if you want to give yourself the best possible chance of getting Speed Demon 1, then round about here is the best place to save. Because you have, from the moment you complete this puzzle, which is identical to the last Mayan calendar, it's very simple, you have from then until you get into the... well, get into Xibalba proper to get that achievement. So, it's 45 seconds from leaving this puzzle to getting in. That's how you've got to do to get the achievement. Now, unfortunately, I can't ensure that I show off this properly, because I've already unlocked the achievement. And to be perfectly honest, I don't really need to do it again. I say I'm quite proud of myself that I managed to get practically all of the achievements in Tomb Raider Underworld when I played through it a couple of years ago now. When I finally got round to playing it properly. Because, well, to be honest, they're not really that difficult. Because there are a bunch of them which are literally just complete the level, like execute 10 adrenaline attack headshots, just to execute 1, kill 2 enemies with 1 grenade, kill 3 enemies with 1 grenade, kill enemies with the motorcycle, beat the Speed Demon challenges, execute multiple chimney jumps, the swan divers, collecting relics, all of them, collecting all the treasures / artifacts. And then the only one that I've not got from the main game is complete the game on the hardest possible difficulty setting, which is really easy. Well, it's not really easy, but that's all I have that I didn't do. So now that Xibalba is over proper, we've got to run, well, ride like the wind. It's potentially going to be a little bit of a challenge because there's a lot of corners and stuff, but they are somewhat generous with the timing on this, so you shouldn't find it too difficult. The other speed demon challenges are certainly more difficult, I believe. But there we go. We are in. And it's time to explore Xibalba proper.
Mayan hieroglyphs. The place of fear. It's definitely Xibalba, the Mayan land of the dead.